Greetings, everyone. Here we are with another Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition 50th anniversary adventure compilation book from Wizards of the Coast. This MSRP is for basically $60. It contains Beyond the Crystal Cave, Expeditions to Barrier Peaks, Pharaoh, Lost Caverns of Sentient, The Lost City, When a Star Falls. Many of these adventures happen to range the gamut of basic or BX D&D, BECMI, and all the way through advanced and advanced second edition. I don't really think there's actually anything here that actually is third, fourth, or third or fourth edition. So here we go. We have the table of contents, basic information on that. This is, by the way, Quests from the Infinite Staircase, which is actually a book that's based on another book, I think that was released for Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition or 3.5. That was also a compilation book that contained many adventures. So this is the introduction section that basically gives you the gist of each of these chapters. This book, it gives you the option of how to tie all these adventures together if you want to make it into a campaign by using the Infinite Staircase as a means of traveling from one adventure to another. Or it gives you standard hooks going into them, so if you don't want to have them in a chain, you can do that. It also suggests that you can also combine this with Candlekeep Mysteries or Radiant Citadel. So there you go. So it talks about the Infinite Staircase, the history around it. It gives you some random tables which are kind of handy when you need them. It's always handy to have some random tables. Please note the artwork is actually pretty decent overall. Some interesting mixture of characters in this. In the case of the Infinite Staircase or Radiant Citadel or Spelljammer or Planescape, it is very much easily explainable and understandable to have an extreme range of characters interacting with each other, as these are oftentimes nexus points between many different realities or worlds. So, hey, it's one of those times where you can just roll with it. You got The Lost City. The Lost City is an interesting little adventure. It actually dates back to, let's read it. It actually goes back to the basic set of Dungeons & Dragons. Basic. It was a part of the B series, which stood for beginner. This covers a general story of your characters traveling to a lost city, discovering various cultures trapped way underground through a ziggurat. So you travel down through a ziggurat from a desert, and you come into another world that contains a whole bunch of different people who wear masks as to identify what faction they fall under and so forth. And then skip that because I'm not going to give away the story. But just suffice it to say, your party's going to actually get into some trouble here. And then there's also When Stars Fall, which is actually a rather interesting story in itself. It's actually in a heavily mountainous region. It's done by the UK branch of TSR for Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. The UK branch of TSR was known for having a heavy focus on story elements, drama, and heavy social interaction between inhabitants and characters. Oftentimes inventing entirely new concepts within TTRPGs. They can go pretty broad there. Skip a few pages there. Yet again, some nice maps. They're fairly small. The problem is that they're all labeled. So you end up with the issue of you had to Photoshop out a bunch of stuff so your players don't glean important information. You have Beyond the Crystal Cave, which is another fun adventure. It comes from, yet again, the UK branch of TSR. This is another heavy adventure, heavy social adventure that could be played out entirely with talkie or lots of violence if you want to go either route. There has been some revisions in the story between this one and the original to bring it more in line with modern culture, but also add more flavor and options. So there you go. Overall, it's interesting in itself. It's a sort of an Elseworld story. So there you go. And we got Pharaoh, which is a Egyptian themed adventure. This was also done by from Tracy and Laura Hickman. They're rather noteworthy for their yet again also heavy social interaction, heavy adventure action themed adventures. They have a penchant for a lot of classic monster sort of horror movie kind of feel too. And then I'm just going to show you. And then this is the Lost Caverns of Tosojan. And this is the map for it. This actually is a really interesting adventure that touches upon a few really important individuals for D&D lore. If you dig deep into this, you'll discover a whole bunch of interesting things. The problem is that I have to go and read this through and discover if they actually... I don't think they updated some of the they didn't add some of the creatures in that were very special to this adventure. The original version of this adventure had some exceedingly unique creatures that that don't really quite work in modern D&D because the mechanisms that are used by them in modern D&D are by classic D&D are not used in modern D&D. And then we also have Expeditions to Barrier Peaks. This is actually an exceedingly old adventure that Gary Gygax designed. This is a very... Oh my goodness, you got sci-fi in my medieval fantasy. To be honest and truthful, Dungeons & Dragons was never medieval fantasy, really, in Greyhawk or Forgotten Realms or anything like that. It was actually a weird blend of sci-fi elements and sword and sorcery and a few other fun elements. In this adventure, you get to run into a spaceship. You get to travel through many levels of it, discovering new and interesting rooms and machines and technologies. In this adventure, you run into various robotic people and various robots. So there you go. And you also get a nice blend of new new technology for your players to use. Players throwing around grenades or plasma grenades and shooting lasers is always fascinating in itself. You got a nice little bestiary in the back here for the adventure. Oops. Important character. A frogmoth elder. So if you love frogmoths, you got something even bigger and better there. And you got some rather interesting other plant. You get some more plant monsters, which is always awesome to have. I've always been wanting more plant monsters in D&D. And so forth. Nafes, which is a genie. Some of your robots that you can use in your adventures. I always like having a little more variety in your D&D options, just to throw players off sometimes, and so forth. And this is index of the stat box listing by a CR. So there you go. Now there are multiple options in getting these adventures. There are some books by Goodman Games. I also have those as well. That contains a few of the adventures in this book. And you could also always go ahead and go back and try to buy the older versions. But you would have to do the conversion yourself, which incidentally there are free resources online with conversion rules for converting basic Dungeons and Dragons adventures to 5th edition, and the same thing for advanced second edition, as well as 3rd edition and 4th edition to 5th edition. First and foremost, those are great options that will require you to go fishing around. Probably the easiest option is to go to DriveThruRPG and type in the name of the adventure and supplements and hunt for your cheap price. You could also go with the option of the Goodman Games books. The problem with the Goodman Games books is that they're perfectly fine books, but they're this freaking thick. It contains the original adventure plus new adventure plus interviews plus unused material plus addendum stuff, add-on stuff, and all kinds of stuff. So it's going to, let's be frank, when you get into a situation when you have an adventure book that has more than 150 or 300 page, once you get past that 200 page mark, you start running into problems with having to turn pages and getting lost hunting for stuff. So when you have a book like from Goodman Games, which has 400 pages, 500 pages, 600 pages, that becomes exceedingly inconvenient to flip through to find the stuff you need. Even if there's good indexes in the book, that is still a lot of flipping. If you sneeze and you lose your page, you're going to burn time trying to hunt for the page again. So in spite of the fact that it was really nice of Goodman Games to put in the time and effort to translate, do conversion from basic to 5th edition and collect tons of resources, when you want to run an adventure and it's this big, it's a pain in the ass as to run it because of all that flipping of pages. So in a weird way, Wizards of the Coast was really nice of making this book, putting it all together in one little thing, and you can easily just buy this and don't have to do any crazy conversions, hunting down the old version, finding a conversion guide online, and then going that route, which is decent. And some people make really good conversion guides. So if you want to really go that route, go for it. If you don't want to spend any more money on Wizards of the Coast stuff, I do suggest that's an awesome option. The Goodman Games stuff is cool as a collector's item, but it's a pain in the ass to use. So I do say that this is a pretty good book overall. It is MSRP'd around $60, so $60 for a book like that. However, the Goodman Games books are like $75, $90. If you get the big double book of Temple of Elemental Evil. What I mean by double book is it's 2 books this thick, so it's literally a slipcase like that of 2 books. That's like $150 to $180 right there. So that's gonna set you back, and still that is an extensive hauling on that book. You can kill a horse by chucking it lightly at it. So there you go. The Wizards of the Coast version is the easy option if you don't want to put extra effort into it and double checking. I do recommend you got either the original, just find in free conversion if you want to go that route and don't give Wizards of the Coast money. But if you really don't want to spend the time hunting around, this is your best option right here. Unless you truly want to go and buy an $80 book or a $80 to $90 book, or in the case of the double case book, $150 or more, to have all the interviews and all the lore and history of the creation of that adventure, as well as the cutting room floor stuff, as well as bonus material, as well as etc. etc. So there you go. As well as the original adventure plus the converted version. So there you go. I'm going to have to say I'm going to have to give this a 3.5 a 3.5. It could be better. They could have kept the adventures more in line with the originals, and then put their time and focus in on adding a little extra stuff to it to round some of the stuff off. So there you go. So thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe. Hit the bell if you want to listen. If you want to get more of these videos. I don't simply cover Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, the new stuff and the old stuff, or Pathfinder 2nd edition, Legacy and Remaster, but I also cover OSR stuff. I also cover other TTRPG systems. I do a lot of beginner boxes. I cover Shadowrun 6th World. I cover a few other things such as I show off a little bit of Exalted. I show off Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. I show off this. I show off what else is there? Cyberpunk Red, Call of Cthulhu, many more things. So if you're interested in being exposed to a variety of TTRPGs and discovering, hey, there's Transformers, the role-playing game, subscribe. Have a delightful day, a nice night, a wonderful weekend, a magnificent month, and see you next time. Ciao.